Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Dream Design Podcast with Amy Lee. I'm your host, Amy Lee Westervelt, and today, you guys, I have such a treat for you. This lady, she's fantastic. She's got incredible energy. She's so smart, so put together, and the moment you meet her, you're going to want to hang out with her, take all of her classes, spend all your time in her energy. She's fantastic. Today, I have Coach T, who is a multi-seven-figure organic marketing strategist, and if I may say so myself, a total badass. So welcome, Coach T, to the show.
Welcome. Thanks, Amy. I appreciate you. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. So, oh my goodness, so many things we could unpack here because let's just be real, you're like a total rock star in the social media space, but also in the business space as well. And where I really like to start out the conversation always is I think it's really important for women and also men to really understand that when we talk about building our dream lives and businesses, we're actually talking about creating something that isn't necessarily something that you go to school for or something that you come out and go, okay, I'm going to go into this career path. You know, we're disruptors. We're very off the beaten path from the regular community. And so what I'd love to know is how does someone become a multi-seven-figure organic marketing strategist? Like, where did this start? And tell us where it took you.
Well, I love how you preface that because it's never the things that we go to school for, right? So I started out in school with a double major in political science and business. I always knew that I wanted to be an entrepreneur. That was something that was sort of in my blood since I was born. So I loved that. And then I went on to law school and I took the California bar and passed that. And in between all of those things, I always had various businesses, some brick and mortar, some online. And one of the things that I realized was that regardless of the business, you needed to have clients. That was like the thing that everybody was always, needing to get. But what I realized was that everyone kept pushing me. Everyone that I was talking to, mentors, were saying, you've got to do paid ads. Okay, so once upon a time, I spent $40,000 on paid ads. And I made zero ROI, not a penny back. Okay. So I had to convince my husband to agree to allow me to do that. So of course I'm shaking in my boots now because I swore that this was going to work because so-and-so said it was going to work. And now I've got to make this money back. So I then formulated my own organic strategy because I had no more money left to figure out how I was going to piece all these things together and have a second launch within 3 weeks. And that launch made $80,000. No paid ads whatsoever, straight out the gate, right? Building followings on platforms where I had none to begin with, and $80,000. And every month from there, it's been growing and things have changed. Now, one of the things that I realized was that everyone who we want to be our customer is online. And so we can reach them by leveraging social media. So I became really good at leveraging different platforms, different features of platforms as they were becoming unveiled, and then teaching other people how to do it. So I realized, hey, these are not things that work only for the types of businesses that I have. They're universal laws that work for everybody's business. They just have to know how to tap into it. And then I became a multi-seven-figure organic marketing strategist.
I love that. And I think something that was really awesome that you said, and I want to dig in on this, is you said leveraging social media. And I think that we're seeing, if you're listening to this, hopefully in 2023, I think that we're seeing that people are starting to wake up to the idea that social media is not it's not the storefront, so to speak. It's a traffic source, and recognizing that it's just a place where people gather, where you can bring them into your world, but you're not meant to nurture them. Well, you are meant to nurture them, but I mean, you're not meant to convert them necessarily on social media. And I think that's been a really big departure because people have, and especially like me, I've had a Facebook group for 7 years. Like, I have one of the original ones. I'm a Facebook power admin. We're always taught about nurturing and community. And then, all of a sudden, and maybe not all of a sudden, but maybe over time, you kind of go, you know what, maybe there is something to be said about this whole owning your people and owning your community and really having a say. And I think that that's something that with AI and all these other things, like it's becoming even more competitive on these social channels. And really it's about like, okay, get them and get them out, bring them back to you. And so I'd love to know, like, what are your thoughts on all of that?
Well, I agree 100%. I've always been a big fan of housing our community. So taking them wherever, they are meeting with us, as you said, is only a traffic source, and then bringing them back home, whether it be to your podcast or it be to your Facebook group or whatever the case is. But very often people go wrong by doing two things. One is using social media for vanity metrics. So the truth is most people are not going to be influencers. And so at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter how many followers you have or how many likes individual posts get. What we care about is how much traffic can we get to move from one source to the next source to enter your funnel to then pay you. And how many of those people that are viewing your content are actually your ideal client. So again, we're not just looking for anybody with credit cards, like our ideal client. So I love that. The other thing is that when people are thinking from the perspective of actually being able to convert people, if you really think about it, the content is a lot different than vanity metric content. And most entrepreneurs don't know the difference. And that's why they're saying, oh, social media doesn't work. Can't be converted. Yeah, because you're posting nothing that helps us know, like, or trust you, know, like, or trust your business. We know nothing more than when we originally came in. So yeah, we're at a stalemate. We're not buying anything. So you've got to learn the content that moves people, but also the content that stands out, because there are people who know how to do the right content, but you've got to make yours not look like theirs so that you move a different source of traffic. So I agree.
I remember when Instagram first became a big thing. My little brother was an early adopter, and he's like, this is great. He's like, if you put the hashtag Obama 20 or whatever, Obama, 2015 or whatever year it was, I don't know what, sorry, I'm dating myself, so many people come to your post, and I'm like, but is that what your post is about? And he's like, well, no, but that's how you get the people. And I'm like, I don't think you understand the hashtags. Like, that's not, but it's interesting because so many, I see this all the time. And I think you do too. Like, there's that one group that we're both in that has a whole heaping ton of women in it. And you'll see these like, people that come in there and it's like, they have these things to say. And it's like, you can tell that, yes, there are going to be people that are going to jump right on that, but are they the people that you necessarily want to see? Like, I remember I did a post in one of those groups and I was like, I have this free checklist, ask me, if you want it. And I was like, puffed up chest. I had 300 leads. Do you know how many of those leads even A, answered, B, were, God love them if they're not, but in the country that I live in, that was, my demographic, or right. C, like looking for, this kind of content. And somebody said, I don't remember if it was one of my coaches or if I heard it on a podcast, but she was like, the people that are in groups are usually a DIY client who's looking to get the answers in between the lines of the free content. The people that are looking for coaching or someone to work with are people who are going to be following you in your stories or looking at your carousels or really digging into your content. And I was like, yes. And I feel like there's still that nurturing piece that goes into that. And I do think that everybody starts there and they're like, I'm going to figure this out. And then eventually they start to trust, whoever that thought leader is. And they're like, hold on a second. Maybe she does have a, a shortcut, or maybe this is somebody who could help me move through this energetically. And I wanted to know, like, what are your thoughts on that? Because I know you're one of those people who gets ridiculous amounts of leads. And how do you kind of like parse that down to like that beautiful cream at the top?
I like it. Yeah. So we do really well with getting what people call viral posts. And it's not unusual for us to have thousands of people commenting, which, as you said, doesn't mean that it's necessarily always the quality of people. But the way that I look at it is that people are in a few categories in terms of post. They're either one, the people who are never going to buy. And like you said, there are quite a few of them because they're not in the appropriate country. They don't have the money. They just do DIY, whatever. Those people give your post traction so that the algorithms can boost it and see it. So God bless them, but they're not our person. So if they want a free thing, cool, let's give it to them and move on. The next is the person who is definitely interested in your services. Maybe they're going through something. Maybe they've got to get their finances together. Who knows, right? But they're definitely interested. Those people are great ones to nurture and definitely bring over to your group or wherever you do business. And what I find is that within 7 to 10 days of consistent nurturing of those people, they find the money. They get off their butt and they make a decision. And then there are the other people who are the hot people. Like they see the post, you're resonating with them, but they don't want the free thing. They're just going to go ahead and message you and say, hey, like, how do I actually work with you? And so that's how we sort of divide those things up. And the traffic on that post brings us to the people who are the cream that rise to the top. Like I'm one of those people. I like to see what people have to offer. I don't really want someone's download. I don't want to like go through your free thing. I just want to get to the real result. And usually that free thing is an eye opener that you are someone who can produce this result for me that I would not have known otherwise, but I'm not going to read that, So I think that's kind of how you discern it. So there's a place for everybody.
I love that. And I completely agree. And I think a lot of times the ones that will never buy, they're some of the best cheerleaders. They're the ones that introduce you to other people. I mean, there is prime real estate for everybody in the ecosystem, and if you treat everyone with respect, and I'm not insinuating that anyone doesn't, but if you are treating everyone with respect and you're recognizing that everybody has their part to play, whether it's now, yes, I see you, Source, and I'm scratching my nose like crazy, that everyone has their part to play. And if it's not now, somewhere along the line, it's going to come. All of a sudden, they're going to be like, I just got my tax return. And I know that I want to work. That's happened to me, right? Like where people have been like, oh my gosh, I've had people who couldn't afford my smallest programs come in and work one-on-one with me a year and a half later and be like, okay, let's do this, 20 grand, boom. So it's like, and the other thing too, I think that's really important is that when people do start to come into your community, if you're worth your weight in salt as a coach, something is going to resonate with them. And hopefully if they're sticking with it and you're training them to do the work, they're going to start to see those little results. And then they may turn around and that free stuff got them to wherever they needed to go to make that next decision. So I think it's really important that people recognize that and that they don't, I was talking to someone yesterday and she's like, I had introduced her to someone and she was like, oh, she said she doesn't have any money. And I'm like, yeah, that's, I knew that sending her to you, but I figured you have free content. You've got stuff she can sink her teeth into. And she may be in a position at some point to be able to invest with you. Like it's not necessarily about
today.
Exactly. And this person has invested with me in the past. So I know that potential is there, but to just look at it at face value and be like, well, thanks a lot for sending me a dud. Hardly. This person's attached to incredible communities where they may not necessarily be in a position right now, but their community certainly is, and so people really kind of, I think, miss that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I have had people who have showed up to, and at this point, I've taught over 219 like master classes. I've had people who've showed up to, I'd say about 75% of those, and they've never bought anything. But they send people every month, all the time, who buy and they pay in full. So there's value, as you said, to everybody who's a part of the group. And what I always tell my students and clients is that, hey, listen, if somebody's saying that they don't have time or that they don't have money, what they're really saying is that they don't believe that you can get them the result that you promise, and it's not worth the risk of their money, or it's not worth the risk of their time. People have money for anything they want to have money for. That's why when the news says the economy is at an all-time low, the mall is jam-packed because people have money for what people want to have money for.
I call that the big screen TV theory, because it's like you can't go into a house that doesn't have at least a 50, 60 inch screen TV. And those are not inexpensive, save for like Black Friday. So somewhere the priority was there to purchase this giant TV. Whether whether people own their home or not, they've always got a big TV. Even people who are on help from the government always have a big TV. It's such a priority, and it's like you need to make yourself the big TV.
Yeah, but that comes with us producing content that makes it just so clear, abundantly clear that we give great value, that they're going to get results. And to what your point was with the person you were talking with this week, our free content is meant to give people micro results that are like, oh wow, this stuff works, so that they are ready to make the big investment. So that's the thing. I mean, we've all experienced this. Like I've attended master classes and things, and I sit there and I could be interested, but I'd love to see a mini result before I pay you $50,000. But you're not giving me one, so I'm not really moved to pay it. Because your words alone are not going to make me do that. So, I think you're exactly right.
It's so true. I keep muting myself in the middle, you guys, because I have a house full of children who like could burst in the door any second. Like at that one guy that was doing remember he was doing the diplomatic thing on like CNN, and the little baby came in, and the mom came in and like swooped in and grabbed him. So this is my life. So if there's ever like a delay, it's me pressing the mute button on and off because I'm trying.
No, you're fine.
Good. Okay, so let's talk about content, because I would have to say, like, one of the things that I think you're known for, and one of the things I know about you, is you're a content queen. You're everywhere. Like, there's always some piece of like deliciousness that's on TikTok, or it's in a group, or it's in a reel. And like, I guess what I want to know is, and I don't know if you even know your human design. I'd love to know if you do, but like, how do you have the energy for all of these things that you create and all of these little tentacles that your incredible octopusy self puts out everywhere?
So I love content creation, and I didn't always love it. But what I love about it now is that I am sort of pouring out whatever feels to me like the content that I'm meant to be giving people right now, the content that's going to move. So for instance, this year, one of the things that I wanted to work on is helping people get consistent leads and sales in their business, because without that, you really can't go on to have further conversations about other things. So I've been producing a lot of content, like how to create funnels that have no paid ads, no DM sequences, no high tech, just stuff anybody could put together so that they could start getting leads. So like, that's what a lot of my content is about right now. But I love it. And I think that people can start to love content when it becomes sort of like a fireside chat, instead of let's dance and point at 15 things and ooh, let's have an effect come in and blow us away. Like, these are not the things that are going to get you sales anyway.
Talking head all the way. Talking head is my thing. I'm like, yes,
Right.
Let's have a conversation.
Right. I mean, those things are fun and we do them, but that's not an everyday sort of thing. And when we think of content, we're often thinking like, oh, we've got to produce that level of content 3-4 times a day. So when it becomes about our genius and what we know, we could talk about it all day. I mean, you could talk about human design all day. I could talk about creating content all day. Anybody watching who's an expert in their field could talk about their niche all day long. Let's break it down to 15 and 30-second pieces of content. Let's give them a little bit at a time so that they can learn, they can consume, and then you can be ever present. That's how I like to look at it.
I think you just gave me, and probably our audience, one of the biggest breakthroughs. And I'm going to tell you what it is, and you're going to be like, yeah, I knew that, duh. But here it is. Like, just because the content, how can I say this? Okay, hold on. Now I like over delivered it and it's not going to come out right. Just because you don't teach the introductory level content as your model and somebody else does and they charge for it, doesn't mean you can't give it away for free to get them to where they need to go to get your expertise. Meaning somebody else might teach all the things that you give away for free on your content and they make a killing off of that.
Yeah.
But you give it away for free as your foundation to get them to where they're paying you this level to get this level of mastery. So the stuff that somebody's giving in their free content has tremendous value. It just depends on where in the customer journey that person is focusing, right?
Exactly.
Oh my God, that just gave me chills. That is so amazing. Yes. So like if you're wanting to, sell luxury real estate in the millions of dollars, you're probably going to have your content be all about, here's how to get qualified. Here's how to, get your credit score up. Here's how to do all these things. And somebody else might have a class that they teach for $1,000 that teaches all that, AKA Grant Cardone, right?
Yeah.
But you're like, I'm giving away all that for free because I want to get you here.
Yeah.
So you can meet me here.
Right. So what we love to do is we actually have an agency that creates content for people. So we use your face. We have, we've got our whole system where we storyboard and design and write your content. We edit and produce it. And all we do is hand it back over to you. And suddenly you've got months worth of content that you can just upload and don't have to worry about anymore. And a lot of times people add on the package that our team uploads it for you. So as a viral content creator, we know that the videos are going to go viral. They're going to bring in leads, but that's something that people have to be able to pay for. So yeah, let me teach you all the things about how you're going to get like 10 customers this month so you can pay for that. And that's going to allow you to scale your business 10 times what you're making right now when you use the done for you content. But first I've got to get you like your first 5 customers, right? So I don't mind giving that away.
That's so amazing. I just like that to me, that is like the perfect example of the give a man a fish, teach a man a fish thing, which funny story. I used that. So I was the student speaker at my college graduation, and I used that in my speech. And I said, my dad used to say, because my dad did say it, and he never gave Jesus credit for that. So I always thought my dad said that. So one day when I was at, someone was listening to my speech, it was like after we were in college, it was college. We were in a post-bac class, and somebody was like, yeah, I remember that speech where you didn't give Jesus credit for what he said or something. You said your dad said it. I'm like, what? But it's true, like that idea of giving a man a fish or teaching a man a fish, right? Like you can be like, here's a manual you're never going to read with a bunch of courses you're never going to take, or ADD girl, let me give you bite-sized content that you can follow on a daily basis that is going to build this into your schedule, into your mindset, and into your routine so that all of a sudden you're not just going, oh gosh, I can't wait to get there, but you're there and you're feeling and you're having the thoughts of the person who's operating at this level, and you're collapsing that timeline. And before you know it, you turn around and you're like, holy crap, Coach T, what'd you do to me?
Yeah, it's me. Yeah.
I love that. Oh my God. So juicy. Okay. So we could obviously talk forever. We have a lot of things that we want to talk about today. So first of all, let's talk about what's going on. What's this big, exciting thing that you've been like getting ready to tell us about that I can just tell you're jumping out of your seat to tell us?
Well, awesome. Yeah. So we have put together something called the Facebook Fast Cash Funnel. Facebook was one of the original platforms that I was on that grew my business to 7 figures. And so I decided, after listening to everyone talk about their need for clients, that we were going to put together our exact blueprint for the Facebook Fast Cash Funnel. So it's something that any business owner can use, whether you're brand new or whether you've got a 7-figure company. If you want to see, revenue increase, you want to use this. So Forbes just did an article on us about how clients were seeing 7 figures repeatedly from being able to just use this one funnel that uses no paid ads, no DMs, and no complicated tech. Like you don't need ClickFunnels and all these different funnels. No, you just need basic stuff. And I love this because it takes everybody back to the basics. So if you're watching this and you're like, I don't have the money to invest in something, I can't do this now, I don't have the time. This is the most simplistic method for generating revenue in your business. And it works for anyone. It's worked for over 5,000 students and they've all scaled.
That's incredible. Oh my goodness. I love that so much. And then we also have your Instagram here, if people want to binge you there.
Yeah. So it's all at official_Coach T. And I think it's the same for TikTok too. So official_Coach T. Yeah. So I'd love to see the people at the event because it's February 22nd through.
Yeah. So let's talk about the event. We haven't even talked about the event. So the event is.
So it's February 22nd through the 24th. It's the Facebook Fast Cash Funnel. And so over 3 days, I'm going to walk you through how to set up your funnel. You can have nothing and come to this event. And by day 3, it's like, woof, I've got a funnel set up. Like, wow. And we're just going to build on it day after day. So you can have all the pieces in place. And by the end of that, you should be able to go out and start acquiring clients, just like that.
I love that. And is that going to be something that is in your Facebook group?
Yeah. So if you sign up, you will get a Zoom link. And so we love Zoom because you get to interact with us live. When I take hot seats, I can pull you up. But it's also in our Facebook group. So it's going to be streamed both places. But when you sign up, you'll get all the info of where to show up and both options for the links.
Oh my goodness. I know that my people are just going to eat this up because, we've got a lot of neurodivergents out there who are kind of like, what do I do? I know I have something really incredible. I have so much passion about it, but like, what do I do first? Because there's so many different options out there. There's so many different bells and whistles, and we're all suffering from decision fatigue. And to be able to take somebody who's like, not only have I done this, but I've also taught it, right? I've replicated it. I've also, I have the proven results that the people that have replicated have had the results. And I'm willing to give you all of this just so that you can get to the point where we can have a real conversation. And I just think you can't understate how straightforward that is and like what good business that is to be like, yeah, I am gonna come to you for 20 grand after you've made 150, after you've made 75,000 in 6 weeks. Yes, absolutely. We're going to have that conversation, but we don't need to have it now. And I think that's beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'll tell you why else I think this is really awesome for your audience. When we put this together, I'm like, I've got to talk to Amy Lee. But what I love about this too, is that this funnel has put my business in the most flow state it has ever been in. So when I tell you that I started moving from working probably 60-hour work weeks to pushing back to working 3 to 4 days a week and only working 3 to 4 hours a day on those days. And I've taken week vacations. I've spent more time with my kids. I sometimes just watch Netflix all day. I'll do what I want. And that business has increased like times 3 using this funnel while working less. Like this is what we all need to be doing, because the more we can get in our zone. And when you said, how can you create all this content? Because I'm more in my zone.
Yes.
And I'm in flow. So it feels good. It's nothing I'm forcing, but it feels like forcing if I'm trying to search for clients all day and then teach clients all day and then make content. But now I don't have to search for clients. My students don't have to search for clients. So we get to stay in our true zones of genius all day long.
Oh, that is just such a beautiful promise. And I know that people are going to absolutely freaking love this. You guys are going to love this challenge. She is amazing. Obviously, you already know that, but just wait till she starts really teaching you stuff, and definitely follow her on TikTok, follow her on Instagram. She's got really great content. And, she's one of those people that's here, to be completely transparent and say, yes, I'm in business. Yes, I'm here to make a living and to take care of my family, but I'm taking you with me. And I think that that's a really beautiful thing. So thank you so much, Coach T, for being here. We appreciate you so much.
Thanks for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Absolutely. And that will do it for this episode of the Dream Design Podcast with Amy Lee. Until next time, may you be happy, may you be safe, and may you be at peace. Namaste.